Hey guys, Desolate Magic here. Kinda homesick with some kind of stomach flu or food poisoning or who the hell knows. It ain't great though. I didn't feel spectacular at the pre-release last night either, and I think not going to bed till like 5:30 didn't help. But people have been asking for this for a while. Either stories from or reviews of or accounts from Dungeons and Dragons and other tabletop stuff that I play. So just to give you a basic, overview or whatever, I've actually for tabletop only played Dungeons and Dragons 4th edition. I know you guys are like, ooh, that's for peasants. You should play 3.5. Well, that's what my group was playing, so piss off. I mean, I played DDO, which was straight up 3.5. Little tweaked, obviously, but, I understand how it works. I actually most likely would prefer 3.5, but we're going to move to 5th pretty soon. Haven't played it yet, though, but I've read the entire guide. But I've also played Gamma World, and that's what I wanted to feature in this one, because Gamma World is pretty wild. I think I don't know. It's either based off of, Essentials, which I've never played, but somebody told me that, or it's based pretty well off of 4th, because a lot of the mechanics and stuff just look like 4th edition. There's no confirming criticals and that kind of stuff, but before I confuse the crap out of some of you who have never played a tabletop game, because, well, it's not automatic. If you've played Magic the Gathering, it's not like, oh, you're officially in the geek club, now you gotta do geeky stuff, you gotta go LARPing, and you gotta go to the Renaissance fairs, and you have to play tabletop, and it all comes as one package. Now, given one of my groups of friends, that is exactly what happened, so there is some truth there, because, Dracon is the one who taught me to play Magic, 4 years ago or 5 years ago, whatever, and then he got me into D&D and Gamma World as well, and actually, I think I played Gamma World first, and then D&D. But I had played Neverwinter Nights, I had played Baldur's Gate 2, I think. It might have actually been Neverwinter Nights 2, I don't remember. And DDO, so it's like I knew how D&D worked. I mean, it wasn't confusing to me. It's just some of the old line of sight, and now we're on a grid, that kind of stuff, a little bit different. Well, and DDO had spell points. That's a little different. So if you never played, I mean, here's the basic way that a tabletop game like that works, because there's Star Trek ones, there's, everything, and they all kind of work the same. I think Pathfinder was one. The way I understand Pathfinder, this might not be completely accurate, but this is how they described it to me. It was supposed to be version 3.75 of Dungeons and Dragons, and then Wizards dropped it, so the crew behind it just released it as their own product. Yeah, Wizards has been making dumb decisions for a very long time. In fact, I just picked up some products from Pokemon that have Wizards of the Coast on them. Probably should have kept that. But hey, hindsight's 2020, right? So basically, the way the games work is you have a little miniature, little figurine, usually 1 inch by 1 inch by about 1.5 inches tall type of thing. Usually it represents what you're close to. So if you're playing a wizard, you'll go buy a wizard. And the cool thing is the miniatures are $3 usually or something. I've very rarely seen one above $6. Depends where you shop, and usually they'll just buy a big old bucket of them, and then you can just kind of look through them. It's kind of tedious and kind of annoying, but hey, it's a product and people buy them. Whenever D&D players spend money, your LGS should get very excited because they don't always do that. So then they sell things called modules. It's like DLC. It's like an expansion pack. It's like buying a new content pack or map or something in a video game, except it's like, okay, here's all the missions, all the creatures, everything. Here's the storyline. Here's the puzzles. Here's where the traps are. Here's the maps. They give you everything pretty much. They even give you occasionally some tokens. That's not terribly, common, but the flat tokens, the cardboard ones are. So you're basically on a 1 inch by 1 inch grid. So then you move around, and then you have a movement speed, and then you make an attack, and then during your turn, usually you get a minor action, a move action, and a standard action. And standard is usually an attack. Drastic overgeneralization, but it's cool because you can work together. If you and a teammate are across from a creature, you have them surrounded, you both get a +2 to hit him. And stuff like that. And then there's classes, there's healers, wizards, all that stuff. So if you've played pretty much any RPG, you've basically got the gist of how D&D works because, well, let's be honest, they're all basically, based off of D&D. And I think D&D was based off of the original Lord of the Rings books or something, I think they admitted, or I don't know. Honestly, everything's based off of 8th to 14th century English mythology, so whatever, whoever you want to say originated it, that's what it is. And there's really 2 types of groups here, so I don't want to have any misconceptions about tabletop stuff here. You've got the groups that are like, oh my god, we're going to play in character. My character that I'm playing has a background. I'm going to pretend to be them. You can do some damn voice acting if you want. You can make them British if you want to annoy the hell out of your party. But then you're supposed to, like, you know, if you're a thief, you're supposed to make decisions as if you were a thief. And then you've got your alignment, you know, chaotic neutral or, you know, lawful good or whatever. And so you're supposed to make decisions on that. And then, you know, they have skill checks and stuff where it's like athletics and acrobatics and I don't know, like even diplomacy. If you want to talk to somebody, try to convince them of something. There's all kinds of cool stuff. And if you just want to climb a tree, usually you just roll a d20 and then whatever the result, your DM will say, okay, that's high enough. You didn't fall out of the tree. And it's usually pretty wide open. So whatever your DM says you can get away with is what you can get away with. You don't even really have to follow all the rules that are in the book. Some people are super like legalists. They want it to go exactly, well, by the book. But some people are just like, whatever, you know, if you want to do this, you can do this. Like, normally you wouldn't be able to jump on this or do this or take this action, but whatever, we'll see if you make it. I mean, it's up to the DM to add skill checks or do this or that, determine if something's, you know, possible, or if they're unsure, just roll like a percentage dice and then go high or low. So it's that kind of stuff. And, you know, you pick up items, armor, weapons, and get different stats, and they boost your attack and that kind of stuff. So it's, you know, if you're into that, I would say, hey, go find a group, because, I mean, it's really weird to have a D&D group not get together, or I should say like work together, get along or whatever. I mean, we got all different age groups, genders, everything that I've played with. I played with like 3 different groups and it was just all over the place. We had like 13-year-olds and then we had like 60-year-olds and we had women playing and like younger people, older people, middle-aged people, everybody. And needless to say, this is Wisconsin. They're all different ethnicities, backgrounds, you know, some of them English second language. Nobody cares. If we can kind of understand them, whatever. We're all here to have fun. I mean, people in Wisconsin we're not racist and we're not scared of people who are different. There's enough people who are, quote, different than us in Wisconsin that they're not. It's like if you work at a place or go to a place or are a member of a group, it's pretty much going to be across the spectrum, every type of background and history and everything. And people are just like chill about it. At least in my area. Not so true in Madison, Milwaukee, so a little exemption there. For some reason, certain groups all stick together and they all hate each other and they just, I don't know, live all in the same area. That's just stupid. Why can't we all just mix and get along? I don't get it. But anyway, yeah, I mean, it's a very accepting culture. I mean, if you don't seem like a nutcase serial killer or a total, like, social crazy person, then they'll let you into a group usually and just whatever. And a lot of people are super cool about, like, teaching you the rules and stuff. So it really is a lot of fun. It is very slow paced. I mean, you can have fast players or slow players. But, I should probably complete what I was saying before. So you got the super serious people, and then you've got my group, where I named my guy Umlaut Nackenprone with an umlaut over the O. And then after that, I had a ranger, and his name was Sonny Archer, and he used a radiant bow. That's how seriously we take it. I think my friend's dwarf he had like an Irish name. It was a bit weird. I mean, we don't take anything seriously. We don't make decisions based on any kind of personality that we're projecting on the player. Nothing. We just mess around and make jokes. And so speaking of that, you got Dungeons & Dragons, which everybody plays, and then you've got Gamma World. Now, Gamma World came out a long time ago. It had to have been 10 plus years ago at least. So it's actually really hard to find the materials, but it's one of those things where if you went on eBay, they're sometimes reasonably priced. And a lot of people just straight up leaked it online, which, I mean, compared to Magic the Gathering, if you're going to play Dungeons & Dragons, support your local gaming store and give them like the $50 for the module or the $30 or whatever once every year, because honestly, it could take you a year to run through a module. Like, even if you meet every weekend, I mean, it's slow, especially with like an 8-person party. Like a battle can take like 45 minutes. So you got to be patient. You can't be like a hyperactive ADD type. That probably wouldn't suit you. But then again, I mean, I'm so quick with math. I know exactly how all my attacks work. I know how all my abilities work. Every single word of it I got memorized. So it takes me a lot less time to take my turn than somebody else. But I'm also pretty patient and chill. It's like, it's not like, oh, here's a task that needs to get done. Now we're all just chilling and having fun. Like, whatever. I don't care what rate of speed we play at. But if I had a group of like 7 of me, we could blow through a module in about a month. Like, we're talking literally like 15-second turns. Like, I got it planned out by the time I'm good. So a battle would take like 3 minutes. Now, if you're new, I wouldn't necessarily get into a group like that because they're all going to kind of resent you, but probably be too polite to say anything about it. But yeah, the super chill group is the more common. I personally have no problem with like the actual role-playing groups where they get like way into it, because that's cool too. I mean, you know, it's a fantasy game. Like, I get it. I'm way into sci-fi. I've read and written multiple, you know, fan fictions and stories and, you know, offshoots to certain stuff and all that. So, like, yeah, I can get into that. Hell, I'd even do LARPing. Why not? Because then it's, like, in the real world. I mean, hey, I play Pokemon Go, don't I? Oh, and plus we did military simulation airsoft quite a bit. Kind of different. I mean, if you say, oh, it's just like LARPing, it's the same thing, people will be like, no, but it pretty much is, honestly. I mean, some LARPers just take the airsoft gun and replace it with a Nerf gun. It's literally not that different. But yeah, lately my group's been playing Gamma World, which, it's very, very irreverent, silly D&D. That's how I would explain it. And it's way more simplified, way more user-friendly, which is why it's what I started playing first. And I mean, you only really get 3 abilities and not even tell you level. But then the cool thing is, so that's a low variety, because you look at like my ranger, he had so many attacks that he could use. I think it was like 11 abilities at least. I mean, you got your utility powers, your dailies, your standards, your at-wills, all that. I mean, between all that, you had options. So that's the roughest part going to Gamma World. But like I said, I mean, while nobody's going to have it in stock, sealed, I mean, that's crazy because you can just put it on eBay as like a collector's item. You could pick up the materials or you could get them digitally, like I said, online. People leaked them, and as much as I love giving money to the LGS, I also don't expect them to have a sealed product from like, what, 12 years ago or whatever? If they don't have it, they don't have it, and Wizards doesn't issue it anymore. Gamma World is still extremely popular, and people are writing their own custom modules and throwing them up on forums and stuff. And Wizards allegedly doesn't have a problem with that, even with D&D. If you want to write your own module, that's the whole point. But, you know, they're like mathematicians that do theirs are very particular, so you might write one that's a disaster. Like, you might accidentally make it way too easy and everybody's bored. You might make it way too hard and everybody dies. So it's a fine line. But if you're really good with probability, everything's D20 basically, so every one number is 5%. It's not exactly difficult. But, I mean, even me, with playing for like 3 or 4 years, I don't know if I would be qualified to make a module. I feel like I could. I mean, at least the story aspect and the skill challenges, that's pretty damn easy. So, Gamma World is much, much simplified. Like I said, you don't just get 3 attacks, you get 3 per class. So you basically get like 6 attacks. Had to think about that one because I got 4 hours of sleep last night. I mean, this video is already like a complete ADD disaster, but hopefully you're getting the gist of it. But Gamma World is like an alternate history or alternate future. Well, both. I mean, it takes place in the future, like the year, I don't know, 2077 or 2400. I think the great disaster, the great collapse happened in 2070 something. Whatever, that's like the lore. So basically, it's like Fallout. I mean, that's what I would compare it to. There's mutants, and there's all kinds of mutated creatures. There's zombies, and there's really advanced technology, which is, you know, exactly like Fallout, especially Fallout 4, because it's like an alternate history where nuclear really caught on, and, you know, there's like plasma guns, lasers, that kind of stuff, which didn't really exist in the 1950s or wherever Fallout was from. I think the war happened in 54 or something like that. But I mean, they had like nuclear powered cars. So this is kind of like that. So even the map of the world is like really different. So it's very alternate reality. But it's not like Walking Dead, all zombies, okay, serious. It's just downright silly. I mean, some of the like creatures that you come up against, oh God, they have like cyborgs and androids and talking mole people and intelligent cockroaches. I mean, it's just so wacky, but it's not just like an absolute like comedy show. So it's very not serious, but you can make it as serious as you want. So it's a lot of like subtle humor and just like situational, you know, expositional humor and that kind of stuff, which obviously I think is hilarious. My character, actually, I know you guys are going to ask, it is, oh, for God's sake, I just got home from playing it. What the hell is my character? It's ectoplasmic, so a ghost. And then its second origin is, Gravity Manipulator. Actually, I think it's the other way around. Gravity Manipulator is primary, ectoplasmic is secondary. And by the way, you randomize it. That's the typical way to do it. So we just rolled on what our background was, and if there's repeats, we'll just get rid of it. So we ended up with like 0 healers, 0 controllers, and just all strikers. But it kind of works. I mean, we know what we're doing. We're all very like pro at, you know, strategying, that kind of stuff. And honestly, you can just make it up in items. I used up the last healing patch that I had just today, so I didn't die. So I'm actually in like Mark IV power armor, which is like an Iron Man suit, which is weird because I'm a ghost. A lot of stuff doesn't make sense, and honestly, the best example I can give is the ancient junk table, okay? So you'll finish a mission, and they'll be like, oh, you get 3 items off the ancient junk table, and I think we picked up a golf club, a blender, and a baby seat for a car. And keep in mind, we're on the moon currently. We also have, I think, multiple pickup trucks and some horses, but we left them back on Earth. We got some weird items, but that's the thing is they don't have any formal use. It's not like, here's the use of this item. You just make it up. I mean, if you say, oh, this machine looks like it would get smashed by this, or like we have a mini fridge, we just have one. And then I think we have a generator or battery too. So if we think, hey, let's cool this down, and then maybe this will do this and get past the door, the DM would just be like, all right, seems legit. You know, roll on it, take a science skill check. So it's really loose, it's very open. D&D is very, very strict. It's like, do you pass the trap difficulty class? Okay, the trap goes off, you take 1d10 fire damage. That's it. It's very, very precise. But then again, D&D, you could make up your own rules and do skill checks however you want too. But this one, it like encourages it because the items literally do nothing unless you make it up. And there's also these things, because obviously using the same 6 attacks would be stupid, and 2 you can only use once per encounter. They're called Omega Tech items, and they're like technology left over from before the collapse, or what do they call it? The Great Mistake, I think it was. So we used a photonic grenade against cyborgs and moon aliens in our last battle. They climbed out of these weird vats, and they had like some kind of psionic powers, so we just like blinded them all so that they had -5 attack. And then John, our DM, he just chucked in a photonic grenade and just like vaporized 2 of them. I think he got a critical on one of them. It was the most one-sided battle I've ever seen in years of playing tabletop. So it was pretty funny. We're all just rolling crits, and the enemies rolled 3 1s in a row, which is an automatic miss. Also, we're all in high-end power armor at this point. We're all level 10, which is max level. And that's the other thing. Level 30 is the max level in D&D, usually. So Gamma World is just shrunk. It's simplified, it's shrunk, it's easier, it's shorter, and it's completely and utterly silly. So that's the way I would start it. I've never played D&D Essentials, but it's probably a clone of Gamma World, but more serious, but with the same mechanics, I would assume. That's at least the way people described it to me, but it was very much not liked by pretty much everybody, so I gotta throw that out there. But honestly, 5th edition, I mean, it's the latest, it's what everybody switched to, pretty much. I mean, some people still play 1st and 2nd edition, some people are addicted to 3.5, but people really didn't like 4th, so a lot of groups went to 5th. So it's really simple. The rules are pretty simple, honestly, in 5th. They make more sense and it's a little bit more fair. I also really like the double roll system. That's pretty cool, actually. So if you've never heard of Gamma World, or you've only heard the term, that's just the best way I would describe it. So simplified, silly, and very sci-fi, very exotic, really weird dynamic battles too, because a lot of stuff in D&D tends to go the same way. It's like, oh look, I use my most powerful attack. Oh look, there's a group of people. I use my area attack. It's just the same crap over and over and over, and the only variance is what you draw. Or pardon me, what you roll. there's only drawing of cards in Gamma World, and that's the tech items. But the tech items get really weird. You can like overload them if you want to kind of gamble on it. It's actually called overcharging. It's pretty cool. And if it backfires, you'll probably damage yourself. And if it works, you'll get way more out of it. So if you've never heard of it, maybe find a group, talk to people, see if somebody wants to get some Gamma World stuff together. And just between friends and people who are commonly, you know, DMs, Dungeon Masters, and people who run the game, they probably have a Gamma World set. I mean, hell, I have one. I found it at like some kind of like used bookstore or thrift store or something like that. That was actually kind of cool because it was actually still sealed and I got a really damn good price on it. I think it was like 20 bucks. But like I said, not too hard to find the actual books. There's only 3 of them, unlike D&D where there's like a million. Find them online, digital form, PDF. You can put them on a tablet or a phone, and there you go. I mean, real simple. Like I said, normally I don't support that, but if they're no longer selling it and Wizards refuse to make money off of a much beloved product, then whatever, their choice, I guess. Then I won't give them money. But support the secondary market if you can. If it's a last option and you got people who are broke as hell and they just want to play a game, then either share the books or, you know, just get a digital copy, whatever. So if you've got an epic story about a Gamma World, I don't know, adventure, particular mission, or something crazy that happened. Like, I accidentally killed our DM when we were playing 4.0 D&D. I got mind controlled by, I don't know, one of those squid face little dudes, and I used my at will, got a double critical. So because it was dual shot, critical, and I killed him in one shot. He was at full health, and I killed him in one shot. As soon as I was not mind controlled, I went over and revived him. But he kept talking about how tough he was because he was a monk. I'm like, well, it doesn't really matter what your reflexes or your AC are. If I roll a 20, it's an auto hit. Oh, and by the way, The archer that I had was built to do criticals, double critical range, and every critical effect in the entire game. All of them. I had like power crit, overwhelming crit, it's just everything, every damn thing. Whenever I get a critical, I could regain the use of a standard attack. So that's my favorite story. But Gamma World, my God, just, I don't think those robots even hit us. Like, oh my God, it was just the most one-sided battle ever. So leave your best D&D or Gamma World story down below, or just tell me if you've played it or if you're now interested, or other tabletop games that I haven't mentioned, because, you know, just give a description of it, why you like it, why you don't like it, why it's terrible, if you can still buy it, that kind of stuff, and hopefully people get into it and have some fun. So thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next video.